Good morning and welcome to the Daily Cyber Briefing for Monday, the 12th of August. I'm Stephen Ridgway. There is a new and developing Trojan aimed at Android devices with the intention of stealing money. So watch out. Bingo Mod, it's being known as. It has been around for a little while, possibly first came to researchers' attentions a couple of months ago. It is potentially an update of Chur update, which appears to have developed into this particular piece of malware. The object of the exercise is, so device and account takeover with the intention of getting access to financial information and undertaking one way or another, undertaking financial fraud. It is distributed via the usual things, SMS phishing attacks, luring users into downloading fake antivirus applications is another one that's in that particular space at the moment. After a successful attack and after any useful information has been exfiltrated, the malware wipes the target device. So this is aimed to make it difficult to reverse engineer and undertake forensics. So currently Bingo Mod's in the early stages of development, so expect later versions to be more sophisticated, probably have more functionalities, and potentially be better at malware malware detection evasion. What can you do about this? Well, the starting point has got to be very careful when you're downloading applications. We've seen an increase in the number of malicious applications posing as security tooling. So do watch out. Be certain that if you are downloading any applications onto your mobile devices, that you're certain that the app store that they are coming from is a legitimate app store, and also would say to do a little due diligence on whether you trust the developers or not, because even the best app stores occasionally get malicious things in there. These are not... this particular piece of malware, rather, is not coming from an official app store. It's a separate download, so do be careful with that one. Okay, Microsoft has identified vulnerabilities in OpenVPN. There are various vulnerabilities. It's a very long article from Microsoft, very in-depth, really good. If you want to understand in great detail how all of this works, then this is a great write-up of these vulnerabilities. But basically, there are a bunch of medium severity vulnerabilities which, if chained, can result in a more significant compromise of devices. It could lead in ultimately to remote code execution and local privilege escalation. Basically, the attack chain could enable attackers to gain full control over targeted endpoints, resulting, the usual sort of stuff: data breaches, system compromises, unauthorized access to sensitive information, blah, 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 blah. Right, so the vulnerabilities are CVE 2024-27459, which is a denial of service leading to local privilege escalation in Windows. CVE 2024-24974, unauthorized access vulnerability on the Windows code. Open VPN serve Windows. CV 2024-27903, remote code execution on the Windows version of Open Serve, local privilege escalation and data manipulation on Android, iOS, macOS, and BSD. And the final one is the CVE 2024-1305, which is a Windows Tap driver denial of service vulnerability. The solution is to upgrade, and just in this very long article, just finding the versions that you need to upgrade to. Nearly there, gone past it. So yes, there we are. OpenVPN versions prior to 2.5.10 or 2.6.10, depending on which stream you're using, are vulnerable. So it's recommended to check on the OpenVPN website for the relevant patches to OpenVPN. Also, the usual things. Some of the recommendations from Microsoft I don't think are particularly helpful. They say, make sure OpenVPN clients are disconnected from the internet and segmented. Well, unless you're purely using OpenVPN across internal links, that is probably quite difficult to do. Depends how you use OpenVPN. I've seen it used for creating meshed server networks across the internet, but that's where you can tie down the external access to specific IP addresses. Definitely make sure that you've got strong authentication. And also limit the number of users to have access to OpenVPN to only those that actually need it. However, the most important thing is patch the thing. Now, OpenVPN crops up in all sorts of places. You can download it and use it directly, which I have done very successfully in the past. Really great solution in that respect. However, it is often built into all sorts of other devices. You find it on routers, home routers, broadband routers, all sorts of things that use OpenVPN in the background. So if you've got networking kit, it is worth understanding whether you do or don't have OpenVPN on that kit. If you don't need it enabled to the outside world, do turn it off. If you do, make sure that it is patched and up to date. So don't just assume that because you haven't actually gone off and installed OpenVPN, it's not on any of your devices. So have a little dig around, part of your asset management, understand where this thing is. Okay, on other matters, there has been a massive email scrape from SOCRadar.io. SOCRadar provide security intelligence. It's a security intelligence platform. Some good information from there. So I've used it myself, and I would say it gives a lot of very interesting, very useful information. However, there was a massive data dump on a cybercrime forum from an account known as Dominatrix. So the original data was scraped and sold, and Dominatrix apparently has bought it and released it. Now, why does this matter? Because it's just email addresses. It doesn't appear that there are a lot of other a lot of other information that's also been scraped as part of this. However, it is over 300 million emails, allegedly, in this particular breach. And it is security tooling. So if you use SOC be aware that it is now likely that malicious actors know that you use SOC So watch out for the usual phishing and so on, because this sort of stuff makes it easier for attackers to target specific individuals within an organization. And as we were talking about last week, people with influence or people with elevated or potentially having elevated rights to stuff within organizations are targeted. So at one end of the scale, your C-suite, your CFO and so on tend to get targeted. At the other end of the scale, you do tend to find quite junior administrators or the support staff being targeted as well, because they are seen as being easier to manipulate. So watch out over the next few months for potential phishing attacks based around knowledge that these attackers, in fact now anybody has got, because it's been downloaded, it's been put up for download publicly. And then finally from me today, one which you would not expect, almost sounds humorous, except that it isn't. Crooks took control of a cow milking robot and demanded a ransom from the farmer. The farmer refused to pay it, and that resulted in the death of the cow. Now, you would think taking control of a milking robot is in that arena of, oh my god, you've got to laugh at this, except that it isn't, because this has resulted in pain, distress and death to a perfectly innocent animal. So the crooks are clearly total arseholes. They're cads and rotters, and I think deserve the full weight of the law being thrown at them as soon as they can be caught. Basically, because of the way that farming is a tech business, and certainly at one level, there's lots of information being stored around the animals in these sorts of systems, including things like when they're due to calve and so on and so forth. This particular farmer has 70 cows in his barn and was unable to use the normally automated systems for milking the cows, and wasn't able to get hold of the medical information required in order to understand how to treat particular animals. And as a result of this, one of them died. So what's the point of this story? Well, the point of this story is, be aware that these low-life criminals are not above attacking any systems where they think that they can extort data one way or another, and extort money via restricting your access to data, stealing your data, doing whatever. Like ransomware attacks, you would not think a farm was going to be high on the list of things that would be attacked. However, quite a lot of the stuff appears to be opportunistic. I can't say I'm surprised if the farmer didn't pay up, because certainly in the UK, there's not a lot of money in farming. You're not going to get rich quick by farming. You probably don't have $10,000 or euros or pounds or whatever kicking around that you can pay to recover this data from, and you're left trying to work out how to recover systems yourselves or using support or whatever. But if in the meantime there is actual animal cruelty being undertaken, I think that is utterly despicable. So there we are. That is a rant from me, as always, it seems at the moment. That's enough from me for today. I hope you have a good start to the week, and I'll speak to you